I had met Johnny before, but I'd never heard him speak. And so when I heard that the students had invited him, I thought, well, he'll be a very engaging person. But I had no idea how engaging. I thought he was terrific. He did a wonderful job, and everybody appreciated his remarks.
He's such a fantastic orator. There was never a moment where I wasn't engaged in his speech.
When I left North Texas, I was in the top 10 statistically for career receptions, career yards, and career touchdowns of all the wide receivers enlisting in the NFL draft. And so when we're looking at the numbers, 29 to 32 are getting drafted, we're feeling pretty good about my chances. And I tell you, when draft day came, 34 wide receivers were selected, and I was not one of them. And I'll tell you, I was so confused because I was told if you produce, you're going to get rewarded. I was told if you make all the plays, you're going to get rewarded. And I was so disappointed that I didn't get drafted. But I tell you, when I had a couple free agent contracts come in right after that, when I saw those numbers, it turned my frown upside down. I get the first contract in from Buffalo. I'm 22 years old. It's a 3-year deal for $1.2 million. And look, I know we don't have any Bills fans in here, but I was fired up, if you're tracking with me. I was fired up. My dream is coming true. I am going to play football in the NFL. And so I signed, sent my contract in. I show up to camp, get all of my gear, NFL logo on everything. Third day of practice, I pull my hamstring.
So I definitely do think that his message is applicable to all audiences. Everyone has faced adversity and hardships and had a situation where life has told you no. And Mr. Quinn obviously has had several instances like that and has proven in his career that that hasn't stopped him. So I definitely think that any student of any age level would be able to benefit from his talk, and any adult at any stage in their life would be able to relate to what he has to say.
I play my first professional football game on Monday Night Football in historic Lambeau Field. I have my first reception on Monday Night Football. And then 3 weeks later, they cut me. 3 weeks later, they sent me home. And so talk about an emotional roller coaster. I was on the top of my game. My first reception in the NFL, Monday Night Football. 3 weeks later, they sent me home, and I lost my contract.
The thing that resonated the most with me is the way he described blowing his knee out. He says, I'm lying on a football field in Canada, and it's 20 degrees, and my knee's all messed up, and I'm thinking, I'm going to go rehab. And I think that speaks to a certain resilience of spirit.
So you know what? I'm going to go back. I'm going to get medically cleared. I'm going to go through the physical therapy. I know it's going to be a long recovery. If we've done an ACL, it takes somewhere from 6, 9, 12 months for a recovery. I come back to Texas. I do my recovery. I get medically cleared in 5.5 months. 2 weeks before training camp, I am going to re-earn a spot on this team. Well, 1 week before training camp, I get a call from the general manager, and they cut me. They say, Johnny, we're worried about your knee, and you're done. And at that point, it was tough. Because here's what I want to share. At 22 years old, my childhood dream came true. A football player in the National Football League. But by the age of 26, I had been cut 3 times, lost $2.6 million, and blew out my knee. And so at 26, life hit me in the face, and I was down, and I saw my dream come to an end.
And so to hear someone talk about that and talk about how they were so lost in that moment, and then be able to stand in front of a group of people and tell you how they came back from that tenfold and are so successful, and like their life has developed so much since that moment, has really resonated with me.
It was my first time ever on ice. Was at the 4-man U.S. team trials competition, and we took 3rd place. What an unbelievable way to start a new career. And it started a new journey, a new 4-year journey to become an Olympian. But here's what it did. It allowed me to dream big again.
When Johnny said how much it meant to him to walk into the stadium in Sochi wearing the red, white, and blue. When I hear someone say something like that about how he felt being the representative of his country, that really touched me, and I loved hearing that.
To walk in opening ceremonies, to wear the red, white, and blue, to be a small part of the 230 athlete delegation the United States of America sent to compete on a world stage. It was an unbelievable moment in my career, because at age 26, my dream was over. But at age 30, to become an Olympian for the U.S., it was an unbelievable moment.
One of the great things about the way Johnny speaks is that it's interactive, and he's excellent at using body language and at his pacing. I think that, kids, adults, seniors, I think anyone would listen to him and feel like they can connect on some level.
Because it wasn't until I wrote down my goals that I start to realize there's some distractions out there. Being an athlete, I knew you write down your goals, you set goals, but until I could write them down and I could see them every day, what I knew prior is that the big things could keep me away from achieving my goals. But when I wrote them down, what I started noticing is that in my day-to-day life, there were some little things. And little things add up to big things, and big things can keep you away from your goals.